Alexis, aka The Sloth Reader, and I'm here today to do the top historical fiction books on my TBR version 2.0. The first half of this list is basically the exact same as the previous list, so I'm going to go through those pretty fast, but I did add about 5 new historical fiction books, so we'll go ahead and get into it. The first one is, of course, Burial Rites by Hannah Kent. Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is a very well-known, very well-loved book on BookTube, and I actually have to say that since revisiting my previous video, a lot of people have been like, you have to read Burial Rites, and now I'm like, I really want to read Burial Rites. Because it's just a book I've never really read before. I know it takes place in Iceland. I've never read a book in Iceland. So yeah, I still have to read this. The next one I'm going to mention is Gone, Gone, Gone by Hannah Moskowitz. I've never read a Hannah Moskowitz book. This takes place in the aftermath of the DC sniper shootings, which is a thing that I'm very interested in learning about, and a thing that I've on my own time kind of looked into a lot, and I know that it's queer, as I believe most of Hannah Moskowitz's books are, so yeah, I'm just really excited to read this eventually. It's pretty short and the font's huge, so I have no excuse to not have read this. The next 2 books I'm going to mention are by the same author, so I'm just including them all together, and that is Salt to the Sea and Out of the Easy by Ruta Sepetys. I actually am reading Out of the Easy currently, so look, I'm making progress, but I read Between Shades of Grey by her a couple years ago, and I really enjoyed it. And I know that both of these also have pretty high praise, and that they are probably some of the most well-known YA historical fiction, so I would really like to be able to read both of these pretty soon. And the last one from my previous list is The Dark Circle by Linda Grant. This takes place in the 1950s as the UK is being overcome with a tuberculosis crisis, and it basically follows some twins who are basically put into a sanatorium to be treated for their tuberculosis, and it's about the treatment, but it's also about the weird people they meet there. And pretty much everything about this sounds right up my alley, so I really want to read it. The next one I'm going to mention is one I actually thought I had put on my previous list, but I didn't, which is weird to me, and that is My Lady Jane by the Lady Janies, which is Cynthia Hand, Brody Ashton, and Jody Meadows. This has been on my TBR for 2 years, but so many people I know have absolutely loved it because they say it's one of the funniest books they've ever read. And it's historical fiction, but it's also supposed to be laugh out loud funny, so I don't know why I haven't read this yet, but I'm hoping to get to it maybe pretty soon. The next one I'm going to mention is Circe by Madeline Miller. I'm basically swapping one Madeline Miller book out for another. I really want to read this just because I do find the story of Circe so interesting, and all of my friends who have already read this said that it was just absolutely breathtaking and incredible. And yeah, I trust Madeline Miller to write good Greek mythology-inspired historical fiction, so I'm really excited to see what she does with the Circe myth. The next one I'm going to mention is Codename Verity by Elizabeth Wine. This is, again, one of the most popular YA historical fictions, so I'm not sure why I haven't read it yet, and I know that this one places a huge emphasis on female friendships, which is something I'm kind of always looking for in books. And this one is also, I believe, World War II historical fiction, which is something I read a lot of, so I basically am just not sure why I haven't read this one yet, but I should probably do that. The next one I'm going to mention is The Air You Breathe by Frances de Pontes Peebles, and this takes place in Brazil, and it follows 2 young girls who meet in the 1930s, and it's basically about the friendship between them over the course of their lives as they get into the entertainment industry in the United States. And it's basically about the trials of their friendship and, you know, their culture and everything. And when I read the synopsis, it kind of gave me Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo vibes. So, and I've just heard really good things from people who've already read it, so I'm really excited to read this one. The final one I'm going to mention is Walk on Earth, the Stranger by Ray Carson. This is probably the most popular YA Western that I haven't read yet, and I love YA Westerns, and I'm kind of always searching for more. So I do own this one on my Kindle, so I figured it would make this list because I always get an itch for YA Westerns, which I know this one is. This one is about a young girl who can sense gold in the height of the gold rush, which is just a very interesting concept, and I do want to get to this one eventually. Pretty soon, hopefully, maybe? We'll see. Alrighty guys, so that is the updated version of the top historical fiction books on my TBR. Going through this list actually makes me really want to read a lot of these, to be perfectly honest, so we'll see. Maybe I'll read a whole bunch of historical fiction in the next upcoming months. I'm not ruling it out. It could definitely happen. I would absolutely love to know what's the top historical fiction books on your TBR. If you like what I do, I upload videos on Wednesdays and Saturdays, and I'll see you guys soon with another one. Bye!